Fentanyl in the versus fentanyl that kills people. https www. Washington Post.com, Nation, the 10th of August 2021, police touching fentanyl. The sheriff's department was met with swift backlash, notably from medical experts who said its claim that the deputy nearly died of an overdose caused by touching the drug was scientifically implausible and promoted dangerous misinformation. The video is another instance of law enforcement pushing a false narrative about the risks of incidental fentanyl exposure that is in turn amplified by bad reporting in the news media and wide distribution across social media. It creates the energy for tougher fentanyl prosecutions and sentences, both of which have done nothing to curb deaths or fentanyl supply, she said, that are reminiscent of the early years of the war on drugs. The difference is you received a medical treatment, and the cop received a panic attack. There was a story in the news, late 2022, about a cop who opened a vehicle trunk and instantly got a nearly lethal dose of fentanyl. That didn't happen. The story is made up. For all the people talking about dosages, etc., that's not the case. The long and short of is that cops aren't ODing on casual fentanyl exposure. It just doesn't work like that. They are likely just having panic attacks. EMTs and other medical providers come into casual contact with fentanyl all the time. Both street versions and medical versions. They don't seem to ever have the same reaction. There's been a string of cops faking passing out from touching barely any fentanyl lately. Sometimes it ends up being baby powder and not even fentanyl, probably to get paid time off and sympathy. You don't pass out from touching it. If you did, no one would die of drugs laced with it. You'd just pass out the second you opened the bag. One is medicine, one is propaganda. I'll let you figure out which is which. It's not the truth is the difference. The fentanyl that kills people is the fentanyl that's cut into the drugs that they think they are doing, like cocaine. Cops lie. Fentanyl is not absorbed through the skin. Dose. That's all. Substances aren't inherently bad. Those cops are suffering from panic attacks, not a fentanyl overdose. Watched my wife get fentanyl in the hospital. And she was glad to have it too. Ahead of an emergency surgery. I couldn't make out the graduations on the syringe, but it looked thinner than anything I've seen for a flu shot. It seemed like just a few drops went into the IV, but with quite an effect on her pain. Without a microgram kind of scale, it's hard to dose accurately. And the difference between high and dead is a few grains. Worse still, it is ending up mixed with drugs where it isn't expected. In the hospital, with the right dosing and safety supplies, it is an important painkiller. Out on the street, it is risky. Even so, the propaganda around this substance is awful. Should this surprise us? Many medications are used in the hospital without trouble, but would be dangerous if self-administered. It's just that this particular one is plentiful and cheap at the moment. One is a made-up story, and one is a therapeutic dose of pain meds. Cops lie all the time. Hope this helps. Part of the difference is that every time this happens with cops, they're basically having a panic attack, not almost dying. You don't die from just touching fentanyl. The cops are lying. Cops lie. Touching fentanyl will not make you die. The dosage and concentration of fentanyl you receive from a professional is known, standardized and tailored to your medical needs. The fentanyl you may get in the street may be any concentration, laced with anything and contaminated who anything. In a hospital setting, your respirations oxygen saturation and other vital signs, or monitoring if you receive fentanyl. Emergency doctor here. The story about the cop getting a near-lethal dose is BS. It can't get into your system that way. I've seen law enforcement that think they had some on their skin, in the air, etc. and are poisoned, but they have no objective finding of opioid toxicity. Basically it's hysteria, somatization. That being said, people overdose on fentanyl all the time. But they smoke, snort, or inject it illicitly. What the difference between those cases and the fentanyl I and other healthcare providers use is, we know exactly how much we are giving to get a desired effect. That, and we can easily reverse or save someone in the very rare case they received too much. What you get in the street is of unclear concentration and dose, which is why people overdose and die from it. It's also sometimes mixed with other sedatives, drugs, and other drugs are mixed with it. I've lost count of the number of people I've seen that think they are using coke or meth. But nope. It's fentanyl and bang, you've OD'd. It's literally Russian roulette. The cop was lying. Cops are whiny babies, and generally not very smart. So they both make up these stories and have panic attacks when they see powder.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.